Welcome back to the channel Spain Unlocked. My name is Anna and it's time for the latest Spain news update. An absolute turnaround in the problem of properties here in Spain. What is going on right now and why rentals long term are not the only issue that we currently have. Touristic apartments are already surpassing all the hotels accommodation in 13 big touristic destinations in Spain. What will be done about it? Smoke or not to smoke? That is the question. But honestly, what will be happening if the brand new anti-tobacco law will entry into force in Spain shortly? Let's begin. Stay tuned if you want to know more about these three latest news from Spain. Another turnaround in the issue with properties and an actual place to live in Spain. As you already know, and if you're not, you're about to, Spain has quite a big issue with the long-term rent. Not all Spain, however, but mostly touristic destinations, which is all the coast of the Mediterranean Sea plus the islands. All those places who do have a tourism season available and thus have less and less long-term rentals in them. And if there are some, these have absolutely bizarre prices for a monthly rent. A lot of the times it is 5 times more than people paid just a couple of days ago. And this is not the issue right now. Obviously, it is, but it's not the only one as it previously was. Right now, just during the first trimester here in Spain, there were more than 160,000 properties sold. And the main thing is that many real estate agencies do not have anything left to sell. Some of the agencies already reported they have just 3 houses for sale available overall, and they've never ever seen it in the last 20, 30 years of their entire career. They've not seen such a huge demand of properties for sale. While many people still can state that, how is that even possible? Spanish cannot afford mortgages. Spanish do not have any kind of money that is there sitting in the bank account enough to cover the specific percentage before the mortgage or even pay a whole price for a property without any kind of mortgage. They don't have savings. How is that humanly possible? It actually is, and let me explain you why. A lot of the times people do ask help from the family members, and not all of the purchases, secondly, are done by Spanish or residents here in Spain. First of all, those who are Spanish or Spanish residents, a lot of the times they do have a little bit of savings and the rest is just being gathered by the family members. Many of the times also they try to do their best to get maybe a guarantee from other family member or any other property that family members have, put it as a guarantee for this mortgage to be accepted. Younger generations, before 35, you actually can get help from the government to purchase your first home here in Spain, which is going to be your main residential address in Spain. You can get up to 100% of the mortgage value, which is what a lot of people are doing right now. And people are actually forced to get mortgages to purchase a property because living rented is not an option for a lot of people. A lot of the times you will now pay less for a mortgage and own your own property and avoid rising of the monthly rental afterwards in the upcoming years than if you would pay a rent on a monthly basis. A lot of the times, a mortgage is cheaper now than a rent in many of the places here in Spain, especially the most touristic ones and on the coast, like this one right here, which, by the way, today we are in Albir, situated between Altea and Benidorm town. Thus, mortgage is an option. Who actually purchases right now? Here on the screen, you can see the graph where it clearly states that still the vast majority of people who are purchasing are Spanish or nationalized, or those who were born Spanish, which is almost 86%, and 14.1% are foreigners. On the second graph, you can see which one is purchasing the most out of the foreigners, out of these 14-15%, which are people from UK, Germany, Netherlands, Morocco, France, Romania, Italy, Belgium. And on the last points that do not appear here, there would be Poland and China. This is the top 10 who are purchasing right now here in Spain the most, plus obviously the Spanish. So this is a second issue. If people will start purchasing, there's no rentals, no affordable rentals in a lot of places. But if there's not going to be even houses to purchase, that's a double of the issue here in Spain. Hopefully this will solve soon. Still, there's going to be properties available, but if people will see that the market isn't responding how it should be, prices for property purchase will go even higher than they already are right now. And a lot of the times, the money that is being asked for a property is actually not worth what the property should actually cost. Let's continue with the second news, and it is about the latest report that we received from Excel Tour, which is an organization that works with plenty of tourism associations and companies, the biggest ones here in Spain, that published the latest report stating that here in Spain, and you can see it on the screen, touristic accommodations already are over the amount of hotels accommodations available in 13 big touristic destinations in Spain. 66,000 of illegal touristic apartments are being activated for erasing. Basically, there was an information sent that these 66 illegal touristic accommodations, at least for now, these ones are detected, have to disappear or have to regulate themselves, which I don't think it's going to be the case because there is way more regulations right now, and it is extremely difficult to regulate a touristic apartment if you've not done it previously, which is why it's important to check the documents before you actually dive into the touristic apartment rentals. These 66 illegal touristic apartments are an equivalent to around 250,000 hotel places for accommodation. Since in one touristic apartment, obviously, usually you can get like up to 5 and even 6 people and more. When you multiplicate it, it's going to be more than 250,000 hotel beds, which is an insane amount. And this is more than Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia, Sevilla, and Malaga together in hotels industry. Also, obviously, these are, ironically or not, because it is expected, honestly, these are the places where we have the vast majority of not protests, but just people getting impatient and not being happy about having so many touristic rentals. Obviously, this will include the islands as well and all the Mediterranean destinations, Madrid, Valencia, Barcelona. In these cases, it is more the coast and the old town, like the center, the heart of the city. That is where locals cannot even live any longer because one, there's no long-term rentals or it's sky high, and two, the noise of touristic apartments and the overall noise, it's just too much, which is why the local residents are being just misplaced to other outside neighborhoods where they could potentially still live and afford a property for a long-term rent. Not an easy situation and not going to get easier. The only good news is that since there's way more tourism, there is a need of more workers, which means that people still arrive. Someone goes away, but other brand new residents arrive to these neighborhoods, which means that technically they're not losing residents. It's just that those who sadly cannot afford any longer a long-term rent in these neighborhoods are going to cheaper ones, but those who can and have a job nearby are moving to these neighborhoods. But only those who can afford this, a lot of the times abusive and very sky high rent long term. Let's continue with the last news, and it is about the smoke or not to smoke. This is a whole life's long dilemma. There's people who obviously smoke, there's people who don't, and there's always a battle between them everywhere you go. And there's going to be different opinions about this too, probably here on the channel. Spain is preparing a brand new anti-tobacco law, which will reinforce more and more places where it will be legally forbidden to smoke in Spain. As for now, obviously, it is all the indoors it is not possible to smoke indoors. Hotels, terraces, it is also impossible to smoke. And a lot of the beach lines, like these ones, have a smoke-free signs. Some of them do give a fine up to 750 euros if they catch you smoking, and if you do not agree to just throw it away, and will continue to do so. But others just have recommendations. Please do not smoke here. It is a smoke-free area. Respect it. However, it is not the only thing. If this law will come into force, and honestly, it probably might, because each time we go more into a clean, healthy air and zero pollution, zero emissions, just to enjoy it thoroughly and not to actually inhale, all the smoke that is around you of people smoking, especially for smaller children and sensitive people, those who have health issues, and for all the other non-smokers, right? So there's going to be these changes that you can see here on the screen. First of all, terraces of the hosteleria, which means that on the terrace of a restaurant, bar, cafeteria, it's not going to be possible to smoke, even though it is on the open air, which is really much appreciated. Honestly, just a week ago, more or less, we've had an issue like this where with our daughter, which is a minor, 10 years old, we specifically sat down on the closed end, on the corner of the terrace. We were the only ones with a child, and a person just comes literally right next to us while there's plenty of other spaces on the open sides of the terrace, and starts smoking. Well, we've spoken with the staff of this place, and they didn't do anything, which was not good on their side, honestly. And then we've asked the person politely. The person just said, "Oh, I didn't notice," which obviously he did because he was looking at us when he was passing by. You could have seen there is a child. How come you sit specifically right next to us to smoke? There's plenty of other places to do so. And if a person wants to smoke, that's perfectly fine. But at the same time, they have to respect those who do not smoke and those who do have a healthier lifestyle. Thus, from the side of non-smokers, obviously, I know they do applaud this measure, but those who actually do smoke, I think it's going to be quite problematic. Plus, there's other measures such as university campus not going to be allowed to smoke any longer. Obviously, in schools and school patios, not allowed to smoke either. The bus stops also will not be allowed to smoke. People will be able to go just a couple of meters further and smoke if they want to, but on the bus stop itself, not going to be the case any longer. In work vehicles, not going to be allowed. Sports institutions and public swimming pools, not going to be allowed either. We're talking all like open air space, okay, not the closed ones, because that's where it was forbidden long time ago. Exterior parts of nightclubs and pubs and fiesta halls also will be forbidden. So far, we do not know when it's going to enter into force, and if it's going to be the case, probably yes, but it's not sure so far. It's not 100%. What we do know is that this law is prepared now. They're going to pass it through several steps of voting. And once all of this is approved, then the law will enter into force. So far, just on paper, but many people already have their opinion about it. What's yours? We'll read you in the comment section. Thank you for accompanying us in today's latest Spain news update. We wish you a great day, and don't forget that if you have any kind of questions about legal relocation to Spain, private health insurances, the property search for a long-term rent or sale, residence permits, visas, and much more, feel free to contact us in our EI Migration Consulting official website, email, or a WhatsApp number. We will gladly help you out to make your dream come true. We'll see you in a new video. Bye.